Hello and welcome to Chat Cave Podcast, where we break down and review a movie of my choosing, and just try to have a bit of fun as we go along. I'm your host, Tracking Thomas Hughes.
I'm Hayden. We're joined by the idiots, and we're going to watch Captain Marvel.
Alex, James are back.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Wait, which one's Tweedledum and Tweedledummer? I did it wrong already.
that means you're Tweedledummer then.
Got it.
Yeah, Alex, your first podcast that... Oh, actually, technically speaking, you did the One Division, but... No, if we don't fully count that one, it's your first podcast since Joker, I believe?
Yeah.
I thought we were joining him out.
But that's after this one.
I need to do something very quickly. There we go.
James is back for a second week running.
Boo! Boo!
Oh, wait, no. I mean... Carry on.
Yeah, okay. Today we're discussing Shazam, released in 2019. He was Captain Marvel until 2011, Hayden. Then he got changed to Shazam.
But I remember a lot of Brie Larson. I was really confused. I think I watched a different film.
Yes. The movie introduces us to a brand new hero in the universe, and unlike every movie before it, the movie pretty much doesn't have any links to previous movies, so you don't have to actually watch anything else to watch this. Though there are like a few like little nods to Superman, Batman, yada yada.
Yeah.
It's not like a pitament to watch anything else before, so you can literally just jump straight into this, which is a nice touch.
It's not like the Marvel, the Netflix TV shows.
Yeah.
Where like you don't really need to watch the MCU films to understand what's going on, but there are little references to it. Like the reference to Hulk in it, but there's not actual big like connections that you need to watch for films for. Like in One Division, you need to watch.
That's exactly what I was thinking of as I was nodding and saying that's true. Yeah, you beat me to the punch.
But would you really watch One Division if you wasn't a Marvel fan?
Well, some people might.
It'd be a bit weird.
People might just stumble upon it.
Yeah, and maybe that would then draw them into the bigger universe.
Yeah, like for the Netflix ones, that they don't really need the context.
No.
Yeah. But anyway, we're talking about DC.
It's Hayden.
Okay.
She talks about Marvel every 5 minutes.
I compare it, like, because that's the easy way to compare it. That's all.
Yeah. The movie was directed by David S. Sandberg, who, like last week's Aquaman director, he's a horror director, whose first movie was Lights Out, which Alex has seen. He knows that one.
Fucking hated that movie.
Also hate that movie. Before he helmed Annabelle Creation.
I won't call that a horror film.
Which was improvement over the first one. And, he's then doing Shazam Fury of the Gods in 2023. So, he's literally just those two films, Shazam, then he's going straight to that. Well, it's, 2 years from there, so it's not too bad.
2 years is like 2 years of our lives.
Yeah, but we're not talking about our lives here. We're talking about a movie called Shazam. So, let's give some early thoughts about giving a rating. And it's a fun movie. It nails the comedy very good. I don't think it's cringy at all. It is quite very humorous. The action, though not as much as other DC movies, it still has that impactful moment of action when it needs to be. So to get the audience pumped up. Bang, bang, bang. British bald guy villain as always.
Fucking spectacular.
Obviously, it has a lot going for it, because obviously coming from the back of Aquaman, it continues that comedy value which that had, but this time it actually goes a bit more. I'd say darker of a lot of its cinematography angles, and it's a lot darker than that one.
So there's a lot of dark undertones to the story as well.
Yeah,
this is about a bit of foster kid, and obviously going through a lot of deep, frustrated trauma of losing his mum, be separated from his mum and try and search for her, and then obviously there's all the dark shit we found out about her. It's very dark, but because he's still a kid, there's some comedy aspects to it, and there's more of a light-hearted feeling to him, because joking, laughing for the pain kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it is the DC universe.
James isn't wrong there. So it literally takes the sort of darkness of, say, like Batman vs Superman, and then also just takes the lightness of Aquaman and just merges it into, and it actually works. Because a lot of times you find it's very difficult to merge these two types of genres, like darkness and comedy, into like dark black comedy. But this actually does it spot on, which is what makes it a good watch.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, I'm referencing Marvel again, but it's a lot like Ragnarok.
That I would also compare it to something like that.
But I think the whole point is it still feels like a DC film. And that's what I like. It still feels like the dark DC theme, but it's still got like, comedy, keep us entertained.
Exactly.
So yeah, it does good.
James, from a new perspective, because you haven't actually watched this before, we watched it together.
Mm.
There he goes, wrapping his mind around it.
Sorry, what film are we watching again?
Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Unlike you, the comedy started to grind on me, actually, at times. For me, yes, it is. He's a teenager in an adult's body, and he doesn't really know what he's doing. But sometimes I was like, yeah, okay, I've seen this 7 times now. Can you give me something else? Then a bald British guy showed up, and I laughed.
Fucking spectacular.
That helped. That made that really funny. So, yeah, overall, the comedy, yeah, I agree. It definitely has the times where it shines, but also it really did start to grind my gears.
Okay, Peter Griffin, calm down.
You know what really grinds my gears? Children.
Oh.
That would have been perfect time if Alex Shield stopped jumping.
Action was good. I do got a bit anime-y with how stop-start it was.
But you love anime, so...
Yeah, other than that. A solid, for initial overview, a solid overall good job.
Also, you fancy one of the characters, so... you were completely obsessed with one of them.
He's woman.
Yeah.
Alex,
I mean, great, but...
from your perspective?
She's acting as an underage woman.
Not that part of it.
Oh, okay. To be honest, I thought it was just a solid movie. I'm not really one to like DC movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I go along is the DC do good TV shows. I like The Flash, Supergirl, and that, but they're a bit lackluster with the movies. Whereas Marvel, were really good with the movies, but kind of shit with the TV shows with like Jessica Jones.
Especially WandaVision.
Jessica Jones was the best.
It's fucking amazing.
Jessica Jones was the best.
Daredevil.
Daredevil was good. Even like Luke Cage and Iron Fist, they had the moments. That
in my opinion.
Okay, hey, we'll sit back. This is in his opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember the last thing that Iron Fist got.
Yeah, I couldn't really get into the Marvel.
You want that Iron Fist?
Yeah, to be honest, I think this is one of the best DC films that they've made. It's getting to the same par as Marvel, but it's like still a bit down. And I'm gonna kill a child.
Wow.
Is that a reference for James? You're gonna kill James because he's doing some weird hand movements.
Yes.
James, take your hand off your crotch. You're not allowed to do that. Just look, I'm not recording you. Jesus, dude, we'll be cancelled.
Learn from Kevin Spacey.
I was expecting him to yell out loud. Don't stop seeing my references again. Anyway.
I lost Kevin Spacey. But Bootleg GTA is still mine.
Anyway, we'll move on then to the opening sequence for it. So obviously the opening sequence is you meet a young Dr. Savannah and his family before you meet the wizard. And it's a lot different to the other intros. For the fact this fully focuses on a villain's origin story, which is different. Because obviously if you look at, say, Man of Steel, it's focused on the destruction of Krypton, which though obviously focused on Zod, it was there mainly for the focus of Kal-El. Obviously BVS, Batman's introduction, Wonder Woman introduction, Suicide Squad, the roll call, Aquaman introduction, and the Queen, and setting up the story and that. Justice League.
No, the dog. No!
Justice League obviously was setting up obviously the ending of BVS and what was going to come to this. I think I've said all the DC movies up to this point, have I?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all focus obviously on the hero.
Waiting for that.
They always focus on the hero side for the intro. They showed us the hero. Yeah, they may have showed us a slight villain, but it wasn't fully focused on the villain. Whereas this fully focuses on Dr. Savannah, and obviously eventually brings you to the wizard, who obviously then it focuses on him, but he's still fully focused on this villain, which is a very unique intro. I'll give him that.
Yeah, and points at having Lex Luthor's father.
Smallville reference. Classic.
Yeah, James, you're raising your hand.
Oh, I thought I was going to sneeze, but I didn't.
Oh, thanks for
Bless
that input,
you.
Alex. Alex,
You're
James.
welcome.
It was like 1 second. Like, I might sneeze.
I was fully focused on my notes to keep remembering the name Savannah, and at the corner of my eye I could see the hand move, and I was like, what the fuck's he doing? And I saw the mute button, and I was like, what the fuck's he doing? So yeah, inputs, outputs, things and bum bums.
It just
Outputs,
made me think
I'm
of...
not
no, I'm going first. It just made me think of the one Marvel scene where the car crash happens. Oh, was that Civil War? That was where it was from. The car crash, and it's like, oh, those were my parents. And it's like, ooh, sad car crashes. Woo.
At least
That's
they are
the part I'm
notical.
going with that connection.
Yeah, we made that joke while watching the film.
Yeah, Hayden made that reference.
I was saying that Winter Soldier comes up and like grabs his throat.
Right. Yeah.
James, the epitome of stealing jokes / references.
Hey, I'm losing Kevin Spacey.
I think we all lost Kevin Spacey a long time ago. Yeah, so anyone else want to input other than James? Is it a Civil War reference?
No. Alex.
My lady.
I think
My lady.
I was trying on purpose.
Okay.
It doesn't know where to go now.
I've lost my train of thought. I thought it was pretty interesting because, like, yeah, to be honest, you don't know his, well, you kind of do because he's a spoiled little prick at the beginning. But yeah, it's interesting to see like a new perspective at the intro, and it's kind of like throws you away. Like, if that makes sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Approach expectations. Yeah,
because obviously they could have easily just started with the Billy getting lost scene. They could have easily started with that as the intro to show you this kid when he's really young, and then build up into the title Shazam before cutting to the actual how it actually started with him stealing the cops. Obviously, the database from him. So they could have easily done that, but instead they went with the villain intro, which is I still think it's a very nice touch.
Villain.
Yeah, because they've got to set up the fact that this like wizard boy steals kids and then goes touch my staff, and then things happen and they're not worthy because they won't kneel down, and then they get sent back.
They're not pure of heart.
Yeah, where is for?
If they're not pure of heart, they touch the ball.
Yeah, it's basically a reference to paedophilia, but you know,
they're not pure. They get the ball. If they're pure, they get the shaft.
And that's how James operates.
Trade secret.
Safe reference. Yeah, it's kind of like we've got to set up that aspect to like, so when it starts happening to Billy, you realise, oh no, it's going to come up.
Hey, I know what's going on.
Anticipation, you think, oh, is he the one that's going to take the shaft? But we also like obviously there's that cool bit where like the near miss of the car.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, we get hit, and then it's like, oh, he's a phone.
Expectations.
It's fucking hilarious.
And the Christmas tunes hit.
Yeah,
cars crashing.
Like, quite like somber, normal like joyful music in a way. It's like the contrast between this horrific scene and then the funny cool music.
James, get your dick off camera.
Sorry, I'm trying to get comfy.
I'm there trying to listen to Hayden. I was like, yep. What the fuck's going on? but yeah, I mean, obviously, because if you think about it, if they started with anything other than this villain intro, it'd be a bit weird then jumping later on when you first see Dr. Savannah when he's older and he's like, oh, what about the numbers and stuff like that? That would be a bit weird because you haven't got any detail into this context, so it makes sense to do this here then later on.
Yeah, because the first reference you get of like him when he's older is he's holding that ball.
Yeah,
that's what makes you go, that's the kid. Like, we can have that connection.
That's a little shit.
It helps you like realize that this is what's going on. It sort of fills in the blanks in a way, like he must have like made his entire life trying to get back there because he got a little hint of that power from the naughty demons.
exactly.
And I have to become a fairy.
I think we've spoken enough about the intro then, so we'll move on to the cast and characters. So first up is Shazam, played by Zachary Levi. No, Zachary Levi.
You didn't turn into a sexy man.
Clearly, I'm one. You can't make anything more perfect. James, say Shazam.
Shazam.
Did work. Oh, it got uglier. Ooh.
I need to grab the staff.
He needs the shaft.
Zachary Levi was in For the Dark World. And
ironically.
Yeah, ironically. Another one that jumped from Marvel to DC. Before some people did the other way around. But, and I think he captures Shazam very well. I feel like he fully plays his kid in an adult's body perfectly. He literally looks like just a massive fucking kid, and he acts like one. So I think
that's good kid as well.
Yeah,
got a bit of a nerdy side to him.
Yeah,
when he tries to buy the beer, I'd like
your finest.
that was funny. That was.
And the powers as well. Like he just like that fact of like not realizing what his powers is and like being surprised when he's bulletproof.
Yeah.
But then obviously fearing, is he fully bulletproof in the face?
No, he's like, oh, shoot me in the face. Yeah, shoot me in the head. What?
What?
Yeah.
He's quite good at doing that, like, sort of out of place. He doesn't feel. Obviously, he's not an adult, but he looks like one. He feels like a kid. It's very good. It's very good. Yeah, very good.
Very nice.
Good.
Well done.
James' input there.
Good. Agree. Yes. Kevin Spacey.
Oh,
that took a very Dark World turn there.
No, James.
We'll move on then to Shazam's other half. Obviously, Billy Batson is played by Asher Angel, who was in the TV series.
Who's not very Angel.
Andy Mack. And I think he plays the younger version very well as well. Like the non-superpowered one. He does feel like this character that's this kid who's alone now, doesn't want to be part of anything. Yeah. He's on a mission. He just captured that aspect really good.
And also, like, big thing as well, I think he was really good when he played Arya Stark in Game of Thrones. He was really good at that. Yeah.
Just because that one scene made it look like her. It wasn't her.
It did. It made me question.
I don't get it.
Neither do I. All I know is that a Starbucks cup was in Game of Thrones. And that was it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that.
We won't remember that one, but he looked like Maisie Williams. That was a joke. God's sake, you two. Why did we invite them?
Because we've got to be friendly.
I don't want to be.
You're not anyways. That's the whole reason we've got to try and be more friendlier.
Oh, damn it.
It's your own fault, Hayden. Okay. You brought this onto yourself.
Okay, before James makes another reference to a certain naughty person we'll move on then. There's no more inputs. Obviously, next up we have our villain, Dr. Savannah, played by Mark Strong, who we last saw when we did the 2 Kingsman movies last year. And he's now going to be in the movie Cruella in another month's time.
DeVille.
No, it's just called Cruella. And I think he does a really good job at playing this villainous role. He redeemed himself from the crapness that was the Green Lantern where he plays Sinestro. He redeemed himself from that. Because, as we've discussed many times, Hayden, obviously one of the main issues with the DC movies in general is the villains usually end up being pants. They're usually just dreadful. But obviously, the last few we've done, Justice League and obviously Aquaman, but we obviously praised the villains. We both thought the villains were good and interesting to watch. And it carries on here, in my opinion. I think Mark Strong does a really good job playing this really menacing character. But then again, he's British, he's bald. Yeah. It's not too hard to play a menacing bad guy.
Also, it is him. Like, come on.
It's fucking spectacular.
The only way to explain him, really, he's fucking spectacular. Great. He's great as mum.
Yeah. See, any of us could be a villain for British.
Oh.
Jamie's always been a villain.
Hayden is one, to be honest.
I'm really trying not to make any more references.
Okay,
they're not references, they're just name drops, but even that's a bit.
Okay, calm down, Jeffrey.
Which one?
Oh god. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed Dr. Savannah. Obviously, he had this goal of wanting to become this all-powerful being, essentially, and he spent his entire life just
planning and plotting.
Yeah, planning and plotting. Didn't give a shit about anyone. Doesn't even give a shit that he's obviously Shazam's actually a kid. He still fucking just drops him from like the heights of fucking aeroplanes. I'm gonna say it was about that high up.
That's such a specific height.
It was really high, you know. I don't know the exact, like, 50 feet, 60 feet, you know, airplane height that do. But I feel like, as well, even though he doesn't like do the comedy stuff, I feel like some of his actions are quite humorous, especially the fight in the mall when he's running across the fucking the keyboard. And all you hear is do, and you look at him, his head is like really seriously running, but it's still really fucking funny just because Harry's running at him. Good scene that was.
Yes, 10 out of 10, can agree again.
Any more input on Mark Strong?
More British, less bald. Good guy.
Yeah, that'd make him a good guy, but he's a bad guy.
Because he's the bad guy.
Okay, we're gonna move on then.
So his eye's cool. I like his eye.
Yeah, that's especially the first time you see it and it's all dark on the one side and you just that little light. And that's a really good shot. That was. Thanks for the input there, James. Bit more than the bad guy that is Alex.
I'm not sure about his chemistry with the team. Like, sometimes you can see if there's like a good chemistry with like the recording people. I didn't feel the chemistry.
Are you talking about us still?
Sure.
Are you talking about us recording this?
No. You know, like, I mean, yeah. There was one good part where it was like, just like, where he's trying to talk, but like, yeah.
This is
what?
I'm
sorry.
I'm gonna move on.
Please do.
Okay. Next up, we have the Wizard, who's played by Jimon Hunsu, who was in Aquaman last week. He was the Fish King, and he was also in the TV series Wayward Pines. And though he's meant to be like this good guy, he kind of plays the villain, like the wizard, like really menacingly. Sorry, yeah, he has a menacing aspect, especially when he's talking to Billy later on, and he's like getting really aggressive with him, like take the shaft, and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Take it." He just even plays him like really menacingly, which no, I'm not gonna dig. It makes sense. He's he's a really old wizard who's been trapped in this like cavernous place for fucking centuries, and he's just chilling in his hot tub for all those times. And you're gonna be a bit cranky. You're not gonna be a people person, so it makes sense him being this kind of aggressive. Like, take the power now. I'm done. Let's just take the power. Come on. For the fact that he'd already screwed up once with Black Adam, it definitely makes sense why he's really aggressive.
Spoilers.
Alex, I'll spoil your face in a minute with my fist.
Yes, please, Daddy.
And that's me out. So yeah.
So the sense of urgency with the fact that the seven deadly sins. He's losing his powers, so he's struggling to contain them for much longer, and so he really needs that new champion to come along and.
Yeah, basically, he needs to give his powers to someone that can stop the power people, and they kind of want a righteous young lad.
Strapping young lad like myself.
No, someone better looking. So anyway, next part.
Now that our host has been deactivated.
Anyone know?
Reactivated.
Yes.
Shazam!
No! Yeah. Obviously, we'll quickly run through the other duos there are, because there's people playing the same person twice. So obviously, the Shazam family is, of course, present. Obviously, there's, first off, there's Darla. The older version is played by Megan Good, who's in the Monster Hunter movie, the new one. The younger version is played by Faith Herman, who's in This Is Us. And obviously, the younger version has a moments where she's quite funny. And the older version does capture the exact same essence that, I don't know, how old is she, did it say?
She's
about 7, yeah.
Yeah, I think the older version captures that 7-year-old very well, especially when he's talking to Santa.
I've been very good this year.
Yeah, Santa just runs away swearing. We're all fucked!
It has the mannerisms of like an actual child as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then there's Mary.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
So the fact the older version of Mary doesn't do much in that last fight, she's at the bottom of the list.
Also,
that for James. Yeah, I'm saving that for James. James was the best for last. So second up, there's Freddy. The older version is played by Adam Brody, who was in Ready or Not. And the younger version is played by Jack Dylan Grazer, who was in It. And the younger version, obviously, is the comic relief of the movie.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
he nails it exactly how you want him to act it, which
he's
he does in
dark
It.
As well. He's very dark, but dark humour. Obviously, because he's crippled, so he's very like sort of taking the mick of his own situation.
That's what we do.
Yeah, but that situation's you.
And so, because he's obviously Shazam's the standout of this film for the fact that it's all focused on him. But I mean, for like this character who's essentially his sidekick role, he's
the Robin.
He does shine very well.
The Robin after Joker got to him.
Yeah, and obviously the older version, he captures that nerdiness with him. He doesn't capture like the inner child as much as the obviously Darla's one did. It more captures the nerdy side of this character. For the fact, obviously, a lot of his references, like, I've been watching like many superheroes fight. I know all their styles. I've mastered their fight skills. Bring it on. So he does capture that sort of
you.
Yeah, basically captures me.
Tom could have played it.
I could have, yes. So okay, we'll move on to the next one, which is Eugene.
Eugene.
The older version is played by Ross Butler, who was in 13 Reasons Why. And the younger version is played by Ian Chen, who was in Fresh Off the Boat. And the younger one has this moment, the humour early on, but then obviously doesn't do much later on in terms of humour. So he has that moment when you first see him, when he's on the computer, and he's like, "Wait, it's dark." The classic gamer sort of moment. And then he has the nunchuck bit later on when he's like, "Oh, I know how to use it." He's gonna smash himself on the head. He's like, "Ow." But obviously, he sort of dwindles after that. You don't see too much of him, and the jokes are pretty much gone. But the first half was fine. But then obviously the older version, again, he captures that sort of the nerdy aspect for the fact that he keeps doing like Hadoken and Fatality. He captures that gamer aspect of the character, which is a nice touch.
Agreed.
They cater to all backgrounds here.
Yeah.
Basically.
Even 7-year-old.
Yeah. Next up as well, there's Pedro. The older version is played by DJ Cotrona, who was in G.I. Joe Retaliation. And the younger version is played by Jovan Armand, who was in a single episode of a new TV show called Coyote, which that was one I struggled to find something for. Obviously, the younger version doesn't do much in terms. He just barely speaks.
He's like the quiet big guy.
Yeah. He's just really quiet, so there's not much to talk about there, really. But obviously, the older version, he brings that sort of the idea of wanting to be this buff guy. Because obviously, he has the weights, doesn't he, early on, the younger one. So he captures that sort of, I'm really buff now. Literally, the first focus of him is literally like, I'm ripped. And when he's like trying to save all those the Ferris wheel, and he's holding it up, he's like, wow, I'm actually doing this. So he does all right.
Yeah, the younger one is very quiet though, and like he only has like certain like things that he can like shine through. Like he's only got a couple of lines, I think, in the entire movie.
Yeah,
but they're decent lines.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, then I can see James jumping for anticipation for the next one. So lastly, we have Mary. The older version is played by Michelle Borth, who was in Hawaii Five-0, and the younger version is played by Grace Fulton, who was in Annabelle Creation. The same film as the director directed.
Mm-hmm.
And the older version doesn't do much. She's like the opposite of all the others. She barely does anything in that, especially in the last fight. She has that one little bit with those tentacle things. James's usual anime idea, and
I know where this is going.
She just throws it in, and that's it. You don't really see her during the fight. She's not all the rest of the focus. But the younger version obviously has a lot more focus in the movie than the younger versions of the others. For the fact that she's like one of the ones who figures out who Shazam really is, and
because she's a smart girl.
Well, she's going to like college. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was there obviously to try and like drag Shazam back into the reality of family is a thing, because obviously he's like getting really, he's like, I forget family, but she's like, but family is good, and obviously she's there sort of like to try and drag him back down to earth at times, and be like the grown up of the group essentially.
Obviously, each member of the family kind of represent each power of Shazam. I think she probably is the wisdom part.
Yeah.
Wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah.
Good job, with your Greek gods.
No, Hayden very just remembers from last night.
I remember because they reference it all the time, like in Young Justice. Sam always like says what his powers are, basically.
Yeah.
And you remember all this shit.
James is shaking his head. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just focused on Mary the entire time. The super outfit was cool. I did like the super outfit.
I think all the super outfits are cool, which we'll talk about when we do production later.
Yeah.
So next up, obviously, is the story segment. So the story goes as followed. Billy Batson gets the powers of gods. Not a god, gods. From a wizard who's not a nonce, and in the process becomes the hero Shazam. And with the help of Freddy, he must learn how to master these powers, especially when Dr. Savannah and the Sins appear to take them from him. And the story's got a lot of heart and a lot of darkness within it. And obviously, we say comedy. It sort of captures a lot of it very well, and it's a very intriguing story to draw you in.
The plot sounds a bit like an anime, but does a bit.
It does a bit, yes.
I mean, some random guy comes up to you and says, touch this. Sounds a bit like fucking My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Eat my hair, bitch. It's good for you.
Look at superpowers.
Is that a bad thing, though?
Do you have to get hit by a truck?
Well, it did happen at the start.
True.
That's how the legs are made.
Yeah,
True.
he's the guy.
And there is a truck later on, like falls from the sky.
References.
Oh, yeah.
James trying to go for the movie in his head,
No,
scene by scene.
That
Bullies.
No, not that car, not the bus. Which of the about 17 cars that crash?
Bully's
The
car.
kid The Bullies one, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Then it sounds like an anime.
It's definitely fun to watch.
Yeah.
The plot's it's pretty simple plot, but
most films these days.
It's pretty simple, straightforward.
It's only the origins.
But yeah, the way it's executed.
So most origin stories, or in general superhero stories, tend to be basic anyway. You don't need this really complex movie to get enjoyment from it. You just need a story to follow, some relatable and enjoyable characters to watch, some good action, good laughs, you name it. That's all you need, and this story, as you say, basic, but allows this stuff to capitalize on it.
All depends on like which universe it's set in. Because this is
I
obviously set in the bad guys one, the bad guys universe, not Good Snyder's universe.
Yeah, it's set in that one.
Because obviously you see, totally not going to become evil Superman. Sit down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'll move on then to the cinematography, and there is some really good shots in this movie. There's the shot that James pointed out already, the eye one, the light. That was a really well done shot. The scene when Shazam jumps off the roof, or Billy jumps off and he shoots Shazam, and the lightning strike. Yeah. That was a really good shot, and I think it's a very good cinematic movie. My words is going jumble. But yeah, I can't dig the cinematography. I think it's again another solid DC looking movie.
It's a solid movie for the amount that they put in.
I think a lot of the way like they do stuff with him as well. Like obviously they're a bit like obviously he sees that bus like hanging off the bridge.
He's just like, oh shit.
His first action is to grab the mattress. I love where you see it from their perspective.
That guy's face like, what?
Jump in.
Yes.
Like, even the simple stuff that makes it quite good shots. They can add to the humour. They do a lot of that pretty good. Like the one where he uses Shazam in the toilet.
Yeah.
That guy runs out.
I know what you hear is, how do I do? I know, you forget this. Shazam! It is true. How the hell do you piss in that suit?
I don't think that he's got a penis.
I don't think it was the suit that was
he's an action man.
It's like Hulk.
He's literally an action man. There's nothing down there. Never thought of that.
There is with enough imagination.
Maybe he pisses out his finger.
Or maybe.
Yeah, it's not electric fruit.
That's the aliens from Scary Movie.
That was it. The president does it as well, doesn't he? I was trying to think, where have I seen that before? It's Scary Movie 3. I remember.
Was it 3 or 4?
3, I think.
Oh, it's 3, yeah, because 4 was the Saw one.
Yeah, 3. Anyone else inputting? James Blank, Alex Blank. I can't tell by Hayden's face.
Blank.
Okay, well, then move on to the score. And I don't think it's as impactful as other DC scores. There's nothing that really jumps out at me. It obviously most of the score is overpowered by obviously the people talking. But there's a few little songs in there, like actual songs that there's Queen one in there. It was a nice song over the top of the montage. But I mean, a lot of the other songs, nothing really jumped at me. Nothing really got me going. Oh yeah, I'm getting into this action scene. Bum 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 bum. Dun, dun, dun.
Like the Aquaman kind of.
I don't think it reaches. I think it is the weakest of all the DC ones we've covered so far.
Not as iconic, basically.
Yeah. It probably explains why when I was trying to find the soundtrack before, so I was listening to all the soundtracks. I'd listened to a bit and I was like, nope.
Meh.
It's very mediocre. So
simple.
That's it. Yeah, it's very simple. Very sort of. Would you say generic?
Yeah,
I'd say it's basically safe.
But if the only thing you can remember is Queen.
Yeah.
Then
Queen and 24 Karat Magic, was it?
I think so.
It's like a very subtle moment of it. James is there giggling it. I can see it in his eyes.
It's a very safe playlist of music. So it's not like out there with like some of the music. It's like they could have had Team Spirit with like the family or We Are Family. Like in the fight scene. Oh, that would have been hilarious or brilliant.
Nothing like stands out like the Wonder Woman.
Yeah, there's not that one song that really stands out. The only one that stands out is Queen, and they just took that from somewhere else.
Nothing as iconic as the Pitbull.
Yeah. James's favourite track in Aquaman.
The playlist has very, very low amounts of plays on Spotify.
Wonder why.
Yeah, it's like it's like a generic movie soundtrack.
Yeah, nothing really. Boom, bang, whiz.
No Avenger theme.
Shazam.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Shazam.
Yeah.
No Shazam.
That's its one down point, in my opinion.
Yeah, no
Mhm.
Shazam.
And then the dance.
Oh yeah, and the dance.
The Fortnite dance.
What-
But I think everyone slated that when it first came out.
Yeah, but to be fair to them though, it makes sense because he's a kid.
He's a kid.
It makes sense in the plot, so I
Yeah,
won't criticise it.
yeah. I just
But
criticise that
that-
it did.
Does that mean Fortnite in DC?
It's in Marvel, so it's going to be in DC.
Yeah, fucking Thor and Korg were playing Fortnite against
Just call me
Agatha.
call me a dickhead again.
Oh my god. Sorry, I thought my camera froze down.
Oh my god, if that happened then. We're going to quickly move on then from the very mediocre generic score to the special effects. And I don't really see any issues with special effects. Obviously, they tend to use a lot of it during when they're flying around, zipping around and whatnot. It's not overdone. And the sins, I think the sins look really well done.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
They look
they're very ugly.
Yeah, very ugly and very like horror. That's the thing I will say with this film. Obviously,
They're very great.
It captures I think it captures like the director's touch. You know, like you see a film and it's directed by someone who's not usually directing these kind of films, but there's usually that stamp. Like Aquaman, The Trench, that was a stamp of James Wan. That was horror. But the example for this, obviously, The Sins. This is an example of obviously the director's stamp of horror-esque to the movie, which is weird because obviously when Kong vs Godzilla did it, or the way sorry. That was directed by another horror director, but it didn't feel like it had any horror in it. So, but this does have that stamp of the director of The Menacing, which is pointed out within the 7 Deadly Sins because they very are creepy as fuck. Which is funny.
My stomach.
Yeah, the one with the fucking his mouth in his stomach. I find it funny. The fact that obviously it's very spooky in that. Except this like literally is a Christmas movie, though released in April.
It's as much of a Christmas movie as Die Hard is.
Yeah, basically. It's set at Christmas, but it doesn't focus too much on Christmas aspect. Good point out there, Alex.
Thank you. I still never watched Die Hard, but you
should watch
I know that reference from Friends.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Friends.
It's also covered over Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
We don't talk about
Jake's favourite movie.
We don't talk about Friends, okay?
Yeah. Hayden, special effects, talk about it.
Yes, special effects. Obviously, my favourite one is obviously the switch between him and Shazam.
Yeah.
Like when they do that, like, the mist that comes from it as well, it is good. Especially that scene where like when he falls, like he changes again, and you see the glow of the lightning bolt.
Oh, and the cloud, and he's walking through. So like, yeah.
That's fucking brilliant. Then there are some good, just great. I also love as well the I'm going to call him Merlin because I can't remember his bad name.
Savannah.
Yeah, he's when each demon comes out, his eyes the glow slowly dimmers. There's a point where he goes to pure white when there's no more demons inside of him, and each one's slowly dimmer. Like he's really the attention to detail for some of these is great. As you said, the demons look fucking amazing. So
yeah, and when they turn into like the smoke, that looked really cool. That's a really good effect. And the fact obviously I pointed out when we watched it, good bit of CGI. The guys and girls with the fucking shopping bags in their hands in the mall scene because obviously they didn't move. They forgot they're there, and they had to CGI in fucking shopping bags and anything to the hands to make it look like they're actually shoppers. Good job on that because you would never fucking notice. Because I didn't notice until I saw the director talk about it and go, "Oh yeah, did you see that scene there? Oh yeah." I didn't notice till then. That's how good of CGI it is.
I mean, you pointed out, and I couldn't even see where we were looking at.
Yeah, because I did pause in time.
Totally not just going to Google search it now to see what you're on about.
I'll show you afterwards.
Thank you, sir.
The CGI was pretty good. And
yeah.
Even the simple, like, the way the lighting was done was really great as well. Like, each way they've done it, like, the darkness mixed with the lightning, like the lightning bolts and stuff. That when obviously he uses his electricity and stuff.
Yeah.
I like how it contrasted with the dark.
Agreed.
But like Godzilla. Got like Godzilla.
Yeah, the blue lights in the darkness, yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to talk about special effects or are we moving on?
I agree.
Thank you, James.
Dick or...
Does a good part like I think it's like a good like when they did the transformation into Shazam, how they've made it so that Billy doesn't like give his identity away, because like he turned into see like do you remember when like he went into the crowd of people at the carnival and then Shazammed himself. And they didn't notice him, although that could just be plot armor and all that.
Right, it's obviously because of the lightning and the cloud. Obviously, they won't see anything until the last minute and be like, "Oh shit, where the hell did he go? He's disappeared." Yeah, basically.
Massive flash of green light.
He's invisible.
Even though Ben 10 just runs into the crowd and goes, "It's hero time!"
Yeah, it's a bit obvious, but
It's hero time.
But Shazam's makes sense because no one knows of his name because they never mention his name once because they can't technically give him the name Shazam because if he's like, "Hey guys, I'm Shazam," oh shit.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a film, another like superhero movie where they never mention the superhero's name.
I wonder when he's gonna get his name then.
Who knows? Flash appeared in Justice League and doesn't get it till his own movie, if he even gets it in that.
Well, to be honest, he doesn't even get it in his own movie. He gets it in the DC Flash TV show Flash.
No, that's a good point. He has it from that. He'll probably remember it and go, "Oh yeah, I'm the Flash."
Am I? Oh fuck's sake! I can't rename myself. I was gonna go Speed Boy. Damn it!
I was gonna go with Zoom. Sorry, Sullivan.
I'm not bringing that gun again, please. No, no.
Oh, Savitar.
Okay, we're all done there then. Special effects.
Yeah.
We'll move on then to the action sequences of the movie. So there's only really two major action sequences. There's obviously the mall sequence, and then there's the final fight between the family and the Sins. And I think the first one gives more comedy value than anything, because obviously straight away Shazam punches Dr. Zvan in the dick. And he's like, "I'm sorry for punching you in the nuts, man." Ugh. And then obviously the more fight when he's running across, he's like chucking stuff at him. He's like, "Go get him, Batman!" He's like, he picks it up and he's like, "Oh, I'm Batman." He's like, "Yeah, go get him." And obviously he's just running through everything. And obviously the fucking the keyboard scene when you hear dun 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 poof. Obviously it's done more comedy value. Whereas obviously the second one, though it has its comedy moments, like obviously when the Hadoken and the Santa Claus scene and whatnot, it's more done in a serious way because obviously it's a more darker tone with the night and everything. So it's two different types of fight scene, which I like.
I like it a lot.
All right, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I did find the fights good, especially. I'm not sure which part of it was. Actually, yeah, I do. It was the family fight. But it was like towards the Billy and the Shazam and bald British guy. The fight.
Yeah.
Because like how he's trying to get like envy out of him. I also like how that is the only one that's left inside, because envy is like jealousy, if I'm remembering right. So he's kind of jealous of Shazam for having the power. So
Yeah,
it's kind of ironic how that's always the last one, and for him to like actually get him to stop.
A feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck.
All Tom Hurt with the word arouse, and he's like, "Oh yeah."
When I read it, I was like, "Wait, did it actually say arouse?"
me and James instantly getting drawn to the word arouse and ignoring the rest of the entire definition. Okay.
That'd be arouse.
But yeah, it's just interesting and like that's all I have to say.
It's almost like it was done poetically.
I'm sorry if you can hear someone shouting "Daddy."
Oh, it's
it is kind of
a
bit random there, Alex.
No, I can see my mic turning green on Discord. I'm just apologising just in case.
Okay, either you two got input on this? Not the daddy part of it. I mean the fighting.
Daddy.
You want me to call you that?
Wow.
As I mentioned at the beginning, my issue with it is it's very stop-start. It's get choke thrown into the air, Iron Man 1 style, then drop, then run, then get caught up to again, a little bit of a fight, stop, run. It's too repetitive. It's if you're gonna run, commit to running rather than just stopping, fighting, going, okay, no, I need to run, stop, fighting, okay, I need to run, stop that.
I feel like that's the aspect of him being a kid. He's inexperienced. He's trying to fight, then he's trying to run, and obviously then he gets caught up and he's like, okay, I need to defend myself. And then when he gets that opening, he's like, okay, I need to fucking run again. I literally cannot beat this guy. I think that's the aspect of it is the fact that deep down he's literally still as a child, so he doesn't know actually how to handle himself enough to not actually have to run away over and over again. That's my definition of how the reasoning why.
Yeah, he obviously acts like a kid, so he's gonna act like one, isn't it? Because he is one.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it
It bugs you.
Yeah. It goes on for a bit too long. And, I mean, yeah, got to get the video to the 10-minute mark for ads, but still.
Fair enough.
Just give me fisticuffs and dick punches, or just leave. Go.
I mean, I like the first fight because obviously at the start when he realizes like cause he's been so used to being this, I'm basically invincible, you can't hurt me, and the first punch he has causes him to bleed. But the shock he has in his face, and he's like, "The fuck!" And obviously you can tell he doesn't know what to do. And see that if he tries to fight back, then realizes he can't fight this guy, so he does what he always does, which is run. That's how his whole character is about him. He runs from everything. Because that's the whole point of him. He runs for every foster home, and that's more of a sort of him trying to fight that like instinct to run. And that's the whole. It's more of his character development.
Yeah,
him
like
changing from running, he faces his demons because they're all demons.
His fight and flight's more like a flight instead of fight.
Yeah,
that's a better way of explaining what I said.
Basically, it's a character development.
Mm-hmm.
It's a personification of his flaws and a way to overcome these flaws when he literally faces his own demons. See, it's all a metaphor. Got to have big brain.
James topping his hat.
See, James, you're a smooth brain.
James taking the piss out of me.
You did it to me earlier. This is karma.
And on that karmatic note, we get to sit back, you two, because you know what time it is.
For about a second.
Yep, it's Hayden's editing second.
Guess what I'm going to say. The editing, yeah?
It was alright.
Yeah. It was alright. It was alright, okay?
Is anyone, either of us gonna talk about James just walking away from the camera and just lying down?
He's just decided to hump his body pillow.
Dirty bastard.
I was going to take a nap for that section, but yeah, sure, I'll do that too.
I never even knew about this section.
The only thing about obviously it's not as linear as most of the others because there's a few flashbacks. You'll see the first flashback where it's when he's a kid. Probably not as noticeable, but it's a lot more lighter.
Yeah, I saw
than
that.
the real life version, when it's a bit more blue. Obviously, it's his childlike mind is clouding this like memory. I did like that aspect. They did that specifically to show which is the real and which is more the hazy fake one. Oh, I'm so loving, but she lost me and I can't find her anymore. Then realizes, oh, she's a bitch. He's like, oh, I can't raise a kid, so fuck you, bye. I'm gonna go find some bloke and do him. Bye. And it's all the difference in colour.
Her new partner was dick.
Yeah. Which you know a lot about.
Hit me up.
More than a second there, Hayden.
I know, I actually thought of something. It popped in my head like last minute.
You're not a one-pump chump.
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay, we have to actually move forward now, guys. because it's the pacing of the movie section, and I think the pacing's good. Obviously, you start off with the origins of the villain, then it shows the origins of the hero, so it slowly goes into that. And obviously, it builds up to him getting the powers, showcasing then obviously the two sides of it. So the villain trying to learn how to get to this power, while the one with the power is trying to learn how to use the power. Before eventually it comes towards the end where they obviously fully confront each other for the final time. So I think the pacing's good. And James, hand.
It's a power struggle.
Alex also saw hand.
I was taking the mic.
Oh, okay. Hayden, no hand.
No, you can't do hands. I ate them. I could just bore me up if I ate them.
Pacing, guys and girl.
Pacing. It is very paced.
I'm a girl.
You what? Right.
This is news.
Are you stepping in my territory? There can only be one. There can only be one.
There can only be one.
I found with the start of this film that it was one of these that had to do all the origin story, and it was starting to lose me. So I mean, yeah, the action at the end got me back in. I was fully invested, but I found within the start of the film, probably because again, as I said, the comedy was starting to grind against me. I was just flicking through tabs because we're still in the origin story. Like I said, how I had issue with Star of Ready Player One. It's like, okay, I'm starting to get bored now. I had the same thing with this film.
Hey, just be glad there was no Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben's right, yeah.
So this guy fucking died so many times. Jesus Christ.
Well, not as many times as the Wayne murders.
Oh no.
That's a whole new level.
Ugh, Martha.
Well, your mother's name's Martha too.
Okay, James, got your input there.
Best buddies.
We got your input there. Alex, input.
What was the question again? Pacing.
Yeah, pacing.
Martha.
Yeah, and not being
Martha.
racist.
What do you mean, racist?
Alex, pacing.
Okay. I thought it was pretty well paced, to be honest. Yeah. Like, to be honest, the origin story wasn't too long, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got quite into it.
Opinions.
Decent amounts.
I'm just wrong.
You're not wrong. It's an opinion.
Yeah.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
Exactly. Like Hayden's opinion of Dora being 100 out of 100.
It's a fucking great film.
I'd call it good.
Yeah.
At best.
Shit. Yeah. I thought it was well paced. Like, I like how you could see a bit of like the little shit prick at the beginning, like how entitled he was, and I love his dad for like saying, "You little shit." Fucking thank you, Dad.
You basically had to put Lex Luthor for like how many years?
I know, he's just done with it all. But yeah, like, yeah, it wasn't too long. The family part at the beginning was a bit pushed, but I wish we saw a bit more of the adoptees who adopted him, because I think they
were quite funny. They were.
Yeah, I like my comedy more than horror.
And James does.
But James is the horror.
James is the comedy.
James doesn't like comedy, apparently.
James is dead inside. But
those eyes.
But yeah.
Can we stop talking about my problem?
But at least there wasn't like a time skip from a dog.
Yeah, I could have said my dog.
We've got him again.
But yeah, the pacing was pretty well. It wasn't the best pacing, but like you can't really get perfect nowadays. Everyone's going to complain or find something wrong with it.
Yeah, James.
I'm not just on about James, Hayden. Stop making a war that is not going to happen.
I get what you're saying, Alex.
Yeah, thank you, Tom.
Nothing can be like 100% perfect. Even stuff that you do say is perfect, there's still those issues.
Like I say, I'm 100% gay, but I still look at women's titties.
That came out of nowhere.
I'm just proving a point.
Hayden, did you do pacing? I can't remember.
No, yeah.
No, yeah, but okay.
And then it was paced like it was paced. It's pretty normal. Simple pacing. Then obviously big differences in the flashbacks, which obviously take out the pace. But even then, yeah, it's paced well. You start to play a fucking peekaboo. We've got to talk
Maybe we can have these distractions on next time.
Okay.
We've got to talk about you being racist the entire time. Seriously. Stop it.
Oh,
You.
I'm not.
We're moving on then to production design.
Do it again.
Okay, I see what she's done about it. Yeah, production design. I think it's some good production design. I think the suits look incredible. Especially the light in the middle. That was obviously he's doing it still. Look really like stood out over the normal colours, but I still think it did enough to showcase this really good looking suit. I think the cave, obviously where the wizard is, that whole area, that looked really cool. It looked very basic, but still looked really cool. It seems like they made this really good looking cave. The other sets are mainly the mall, which is a mall. There's nothing really much to say there. A house, nothing much to say there, but it's a house. Yeah, I feel like it did good production wise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, I do like the seats, how the different the color code as well. I like that because all the color codes are kind of related to like
The character
and kind of what they were wearing at the time.
Red, blue, red, grey, purple, and green.
Each one was wearing those colors when they changed.
Exactly.
It's pretty well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like little details.
Little details.
They always make it good.
Devil's in the details, Bev.
Which those suits well is sort of styled slightly as well to how they're like as well. Obviously, James' character Mary. Obviously, she has that more of like a classics like the like go-go kind of like skirt in a way. Each one is like each outfit's like different. It's very well done. So yeah. And James is.
I don't know what he's doing.
There's like something in my vision, and I don't.
It's called your computer screen.
Wow.
Is it?
All right, Owen Wilson, calm down.
Wow.
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 Let me sound like Wario.
Yeah.
Wario.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't look normal.
Okay, thumbs up for production design then. Script. You guys spoke enough. Someone else can start yourself.
It's kind of generic, but
Generic superhero.
Yeah, but there are some like standout moments. Obviously,
yeah,
the character being a kid instead of being like a normal adult kind of superhero, like most of them are. Even like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man ones, he's supposed to be a kid in that. He very much acts like a nerdy adult. And the only time we've ever really seen that childlike superhero is obviously Spider-Man in the MCU Spider-Man. The only time we've ever seen that childlike, like not inexperienced, and the way they do the dialogue, obviously, it fits out quite well. Like he tries to act tough, and like he's a big superhero. But obviously, he's spent the whole time making money, doing light shows.
Lightning with my hands.
Yeah,
lightning with my hands. Lightning with my hands.
Like a kid, like you've probably done that many times, Tom, where you start saying random stuff or singing to a different tune.
He still does it now. What you on about?
Lightning with my hands. Lightning with my hands. Lightning with my hands.
See, Tom was the actual writer of the film, do you know?
Shh.
That's why it's so generic.
You hide me.
Look, I just saw money, okay? I We got paid a lot of money by Fortnite to that one dance scene. Okay.
Fair
They pay
enough.
for the entire movie.
I must admit, I quite like how it's got that little side plot with the bullies. I thought that was a nice little added touch that was well done.
Bullies that can't park.
Giving that progression from just dealing with everyday schoolyard bullies to bald British guy.
But in both aspects, he's dealing with bullies. Nice note there, James.
Yes, I made that connection all by myself.
Yeah. With as a human and as basically a demigod.
Yeah. Alex, what you about to say?
I like how when the bullies are bullying.
I'm sorry. Why does Alex look like the guy from The Grinch? The guy who's the mayor.
I see it.
He does it.
I just glanced over at him speak. I was like, wait, what the fuck's he look like the Grinch? What was the mayor's name in The Grinch?
I walk alone.
Yeah, something like that. Go on, Alex, continue.
I like how when the bullies are bullying them, they can't really do much, and they get beat up. But at the end, they have to save them. I'm just thinking, just let them die.
Well,
that would have made you a hero, then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They're being heroes. They save everyone.
While also still giving suitcase wedges.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Is he giving us a suitcase wedgie? That was quite funny.
I thought they said
good full circle.
Have you heard of a yeah.
No, they're getting wedges.
Yeah. Probably American. Probably
yeah, some American bullcrap.
No
offense to our American audience if there's any out there.
Yeah.
James says hi.
Hi, Mom.
Take Alex away.
What?
Yeah, okay, we'll move on then if everyone's done with script.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to the ending, which obviously Doctors of Ireland being defeated, Billy finally joining his foster family, and the whole Shazam family moving to the cave. And Alex, you want to kick us off here? You started speaking. You look like you wanted to kick us off.
Yeah, come on, Alex. Talk about Whoville.
It was so sad. I really cried. I really cried at the ending. It was especially when that dog died. It just got me. When it got hit by that truck, but then came back to life.
Was you watching Marley
and Me meets Pet Sematary?
And you said Harvey and Me. Get your price, kid. That's not.
The specific scene you're talking about doesn't end at the happen of that movie. It doesn't happen at the end of that movie. It happens more middle-ish, if anything.
I found it pretty good. Ending was nice. Me trying to having to remember the movie without anyone talking about it, pretty hard. But yeah, it was it's a good setup for the next movie as well, especially with the end scene credits.
Different category.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I'm stepping on.
You're jumping.
Jumping one.
God's sake.
Look, that's what we do on the Pokemon Chatter Caves.
God's sake. First you were criticising the Grinch for stealing Christmas. Now this. Fuck's sake.
But yeah, it was good.
How's that dog's butthole taste him?
Yeah, James.
You get it because he kissed the dog in it?
James the dog.
Okay. James, how did you feel about the ending?
Trying to remember it right now.
They win.
Victory.
He joins the family at dinner. He just a hand in the middle, like all of them.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the cave.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch. He's learned the value of family. Remember the one thing the wizard said about all of the seats being empty. Don't go it alone, kids. And he does the put the hand in, join in, put all the hands together for the evening meal rather than having one of the parents do it. So yeah, it's neat that, there's resolution, there's development, and something.
Nice ending, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire film, like he's the one he didn't do it. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
Handed.
And how they also jump back to, oh look, we've got our Leia, rather than spending hundreds of thousands of money on it or through an estate agent.
What's a Leia?
So yeah, cool. They got the Leia.
I don't know what Alex is doing, and I'm just gonna. My opinion is going to replicate James's.
Well done.
I agree.
Oh, sorry. I agree.
Yeah, there you go. You've done a me. Congratulations.
I agree with James from the future.
Oh, that one scene where Billy steals that police car. It was like a B-Tech Grand Theft Auto. The Kevin Spacey appeared. It's fucking weird. I'm off to go do Michael Bublé.
That's it. That's the other show.
I'm not needed on the show anymore.
James' catchphrases are all gone. Everyone in agreement on the ending? Good ending?
Yeah.
Nice ending?
Yeah, everything's resolved. The character arcs are all done. Yeah. I like. He obviously fully accepts that these people are his family and not this random mummies like not seen in years who abandoned him.
Blood doesn't mean family.
Yeah.
Family can be made.
Well, yeah, because the whole
test tube.
The foster parents that I think fostered him, they obviously themselves have been in the system. They're both care kids as well.
Yep.
They know that a family doesn't have to be related.
For some reason, that the big guy, the dad, the father, the father figure, he always reminds me of Cisco. And I don't know why.
Like a really muscly Cisco.
Yeah.
I just know him from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Nice
my input there.
It's a good it's like poetry. Everything comes around, everything gets solved, and it's quite beautifully done. Yeah, and big budget fights along the way.
Okay, obviously.
The family movie disguised as a magical superhero movie with the same touch my staff.
Okay.
And first of all, no Ampede.
God damn, she had to bring her up.
I can scream the name.
Okay, so obviously there is an end credit scene, as Alex was going to point out, which obviously Dr. Savannah. Oh, there's two. We'll talk about the first one, then the mid credit scene, which is obviously Dr. Savannah meets Mr. Mind. Not Mr. Mime. Mr. Mind is called the caterpillar,
Mr. Mind,
which is setting up the sequel. Obviously, the Fury of the Gods, because he's going to take it to the gods, and it's a nice way to set up the sequel, while also giving you the last little look at the villain, while also then giving you that look at it does full circle, because obviously the caterpillar was in the start of the movie, but then you didn't see it when he went back, so it gives you full circle of it's there. It's the bad guy. Yeah, we're having a caterpillar as a bad guy. Deal with it.
Well, it's better than a starfish.
Hey, leave Starro alone.
Yeah.
Starro's cool.
Yeah, come on. It's one of James' favourite Pokemon.
Nah, that's all Dino.
Taking the piss. Let us do a joke. God's sake, Alex. This is why no one likes you.
Oh, I mean, my house is just burning down.
I just heard it. Any more thoughts on the ending?
Oh, the kids escaping.
Okay. Obviously, there's another end credit scene, as James pointed out, which is the Shazam testing his ability to talk to fish, which is obviously taking the piss out of Aquaman. It's like, how is this even cool? It's not cool. And obviously, Freddy's like, oh, but you can control an armada of fish in the ocean.
Yeah, he wasn't seeing the practical of it.
Yeah, and he was pointing at his shirt as well, pointing the Aquaman shirt. He's like, oh yeah, forgot about that.
Basically, it was like how everyone believed Aquaman was a shit power, had a shit power. And obviously, the film at the end of all the fish creature army, it showed that it could actually be kind of cool and quite cinematic.
Yeah.
That bitch existed.
Well, it would be right to talk about the end credits. Mentioning that really cool end credit sequence, the drawings.
Yeah.
That was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was going to say the Run with the Homecoming Spider-Man.
Yeah,
That was based off
and
Presley's Day Off, wasn't it?
yeah,
It was very
oh, we've
quite
lost him.
classic kid films.
We've lost
Like
him.
Dolly with the Kid as well,
Yeah,
and a bit of that vibes from that.
yeah,
And so we didn't need James. I was taking over.
yeah.
Yeah, you are the James.
You better
I don't
return
want-
really quick because it's the ratings in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so before we get to the ratings, obviously there's the favourite moment segment where we choose our favourite moment from the movie.
You didn't tell me I had to have a favourite moment.
Well, think of one guy from Thingy. Okay, so my favourite moment, there's a few in this that are really cool. I like the bit with the dad, the lightning comes through the roof and he's like, I think I did that.
Good. I'm just going to eyeball.
I like the scene when Shazam's being drowned and he's trying to say Shazam, but he can't. And then obviously the bad guy gets taken off and he lifts his head up and he just yells Shazam. But I'm going to go with the scene I've already mentioned once, which is obviously when Billy jumps off the roof and yells Shazam and the lightning just strikes him and he turns into him. I really love that scene. I think it looked really good cinematically and it was really good to watch.
Yeah, mine's got to be like obviously when he just finished getting drowned and said Shazam and he gets up from this. You see the lightning bolt. That's probably mine. Either that or the scene where he's in the toilet saying how the fuck do I pee, and then sits and that random guy runs out screaming.
His pants almost down.
Yeah.
Trying to buckle himself back up.
Or my third option would be the one he's like has that trench coat over him. Oh yes, I am his dad who's just was over there. It reminded me of like the joke of like 3 kids in a trench coat.
Yes. Yes.
Those ones quite fun.
Pick a specific one. Which one are you going with?
For comment, for visually, we're going to go visual or comical.
Either one you choose.
I'm going to go for the comical kids in a trench coat.
Okay, kids in trench coats. Who's next?
One of my favourite moments was the scene where they're arguing like a good couple of miles away, and the villain's giving his speech, but he's like, "What?"
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's one of my favourite ones. But the one that I'm like super happy about is when Santa's on the news.
It's fucking crazy, man.
It's all fucking crazy, man. It was all like,
so you go in Santa.
Yeah, Santa all the way.
Santa.
And how it's all bleeped out as well.
Yeah.
What, you bleep out now?
Funny.
No, I mean, the Santa bleeped out, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought it was kind of a Tom bleeping out.
No.
That's so sad.
James, what you going with them?
But the bit where Mary...
If this is anything like Pokemon, he's going to be there for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it the bit where Mary exists?
Which part about Pokemon? When he's picking a bloody Pokemon move?
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, I mean picking the team before Cinematography.
Both.
Do I get to go now?
Yeah, you get to go. Come on, Cogs.
Yes.
In terms of like action, well, more so of like a specific shot. I agree with the shot that Thomas pointed out when he leaps off the roof and yells Shazam and how it's a little bit slow-mo. That's super cool. In terms of comedy, when Shazam decides to go into a gentleman's club.
When he looks at the camera, he's like,
"Do I need more money?"
Yeah, when he comes out, it's like, "We're gonna need more money." There are very good people in there.
They're very convincing.
So
yeah, and when they teleport out of the cave into there, and all the rest of the first place you thought of, and then the
Freddy.
I don't want to say the cripple, but I don't remember his name.
Freddy.
Billy, yeah, and he comes out, I was like, yeah, really nice people in there.
How does he get Billy from Freddy?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you said Billy. Sorry, I'm not listening.
Freddy.
Same difference. Billy's the main character.
Billy's the main one.
And then the little kid's like, oh, they have glitter. I want glitter.
Why go close my eyes?
So you're going with Gentleman's Club?
Yeah, the way I'm talking about it now. Yeah,
Gentleman's Club. Okay.
Was when they were in the cave with the bad guy, you had all of the deadly sins holding each member of the family. But I didn't remember all too much about that scene actually, so it's out the running.
Okay, pivotal moment of the podcast: the ratings of the movie, and I'm gonna kick us off. Again, fun film, comedy, action, good cinematography, dark, has a bit of horror in it. You know, I can't go wrong there. So my initial rating, I'm going with what I went with the first time I watched this, and that's going to be once again a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really fun movie.
I agree. I say 9 out of 10 too. I think it's fun to watch. It's a little bit different than most superhero films, with the fact that it's a kid in an adult's body, which is obviously, there are like comedy films out there like that, but there's no like superhero film like that. And at least it's not a guy from Friends, so that's all that matters really. And
For me, sorry, you weren't done.
yeah, did I? Yeah. So
Okay.
it was fun. Right, so yeah, 9 out of 10.
For me, my rating overall for the film is a 6.75, rounded down to a 6.
9 out of 10. Okay.
Nothing wrong with the film itself, but personally,
Just you.
The comedy grinds you down.
Just me. The comedy, I don't know how many times I could sit through it. Yes, it can get a laugh out of me, but funny recording.
Just can't get that rise.
What?
No, never mind. Carry
on. Carry on before Alex instant dies again.
YouTube compilation of powers. Woo! And Fortnite. It has its highs, but it certainly, for me, has its lows as well. So,
like you.
Oh no, I'm straight 0 out of 10, rounded down to a 0.
But you have your highs when you start making really, really bad comments. We can take the piss out of you being basically what's going to corrupt this entire channel and get us all cancelled. And yeah, you're the weak link between us all.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
You're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Go on, Alex.
I will give it a good 4.5 slowpoke heads out of 5.
Can't use a different rating system.
You can't bring in the other channel.
I'm sort of
fine. Sorry. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
I like choking myself.
Would vote again. I thought it was fun. Would watch it again, as I've already watched it before. I like the little funny bits, you know. Darla's like a precious gem of this movie. She's just fresh air. But yeah. Yeah. It's decent. Not exactly perfect per se. Not like the best movie. And it's a decent DC movie.
Okay.
8 out of 10.
I was going to interrupt him by just randomly shouting out, kind of start jumping, but I thought no, Tom, don't.
Oh, start jumping.
Okay, so well, you're the average then, Alex. That gives Shazam a Chess Cave overall rating of 8 out of 10.
Do I win a prize?
No.
Quite low for a film without Amber Heard.
Quite low for a film without a bug dying at the beginning.
Okay, we'll quickly get to the MVP section. So the Chess Cave MVP award this week, decided by all of us, of course, goes to Shazam, Zachary Levi, for the fact that it captures this man-child perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay, agreement. Nothing else to add? Okay, so the runner-up, again, another agreement, because this is one that was neck and neck between all of us. So the runner-up is Freddy, played by Jack Dylan Grazer, because he was a great sidekick.
And definitely, there's the dark humour as well that he had.
Yeah.
And the nerdiness. It basically resided in Tom.
It was basically Tom, but better.
But Tom, but can't walk. Okay, you trying to say you don't want Tom to walk?
No, I'll break his legs.
Is that a threat?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
No, it's not,
calm
no,
down.
it's not a threat. It's a promise.
He just looks like Mickey Mouse.
It's going to do some anti-Semitic thing again.
We're going to move on to the question of the day then. So the question of the day is, before the sequel in 2023, we're actually getting a prequel in 2022 in the form of Black Adam. So what are you looking forward to seeing in that to then obviously eventually come into a third movie where they collide?
The Rock's muscles.
Have you seen him? He's been releasing images of himself buff as fuck for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They actually started filming it. They started filming it yesterday, I think, in terms of
I'm
recording.
just waiting for the soundtrack of What Can I Say Except You're Welcome.
It's just the Rock's best hits.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some
Tooth Fairy in there.
Moana in there. There's going to be some Jumanji in there.
Yeah,
I've seen it with the Wave Place where he appeared.
Yep.
Or the one in Hannah Montana where he's wearing makeup.
Yep.
That was a weird episode.
That was a weird episode.
Then his WWE theme hits.
Or when he's in the Tooth Fairy tutu from the Tooth Fairy.
Or
Looking forward to seeing The Rock.
or everyone's favourite moment is obviously when he jumps off the building. So it's,
there goes my hero. So basically, what you're all saying is you're looking forward to seeing The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can't wait for him to bring in his friend as well, the Invisible Man, because you can't see me.
How do you know there's an actor from The Invisible Man in it? One of the main actors in the Invisible Man remake, he's playing Hawkman within this movie, because Hawkman's in it, Dr. Fate's in it. I can't remember the other two. There's two more in it.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon's in it, yeah.
Everything.
No, Matt Damon's not in it. But yeah, obviously all these characters are basically going to end up fighting Black Adam. So
yeah.
Well, what can I say? I'm good at guessing.
You can't see but Brad Pitt's in there as well.
Okay, so
he plays the Invisible Cat Man.
Okay, so we're basically in agreement that The Rock. We're all looking forward to seeing The Rock.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, it's a super villain.
Also Dr. Fate as well.
Yeah, Dr. Fate, yeah. I didn't even know he was in the movie.
I did, but main focus is The Rock.
Yeah.
Tom hasn't talked about this movie as much.
No, I talked to Hayden about it. I've sent him. I was like, hey, look, we spoke about Dr. Fate yesterday. They just cast Pierce Brosnan, 007 as him.
Oh, you talk about. You just sent me like things like Mario's getting a movie, and I was like, oh, okay.
What can I say?
About this stuff as well, please.
Doing another Ghostbusters.
Yeah, James found out about that yesterday. Okay, before we start randomly jabbering on, okay, that covers everything. So, that's it for Chat Cave podcast this week. Alex, you're getting a week off. You get your birthday week off.
Woo.
Yeah.
James, you're sticking around again.
Watching.
We're not watching Transformers, Hayden.
Oh.
We're going to be covering the 2017, theatrical adaptation of Power Rangers for my birthday, because it literally is coming out on my birthday. So yeah, thanks for joining me and Hayden. You pair of the guy from The Grinch and whatever James is now, because he's lost his whole gimmick.
We don't know anymore. What am I? What is life?
He's just a sad dog man.
Okay.
Almost as bad as Tom Cruise. So it's just a horror shell of his man.
Yeah, I've been your host, Striking Thomas Shoes.
I've been Hayden Roberts.
What? No, you haven't.
You've let yourself go, Hayden.
Scientology all over again. Scientology over again. Always taking over my things. God's sake.
And this has been a Chat Cave podcast. And you know what, guys and girls? That's Square Enix for you.
You remembered. Shazam!